Welcome to King Legend Talks, everybody. It is the one and only Omar Gooding, everyone. How you doing today, sir?
Blessed and highly favored. How about yourself?
I'm amazing. I can't complain. You know, today is 222222. Did I say that right?
It's today the 22222.
It's today.
Okay. Two is 222.
It's a lot of twos going on.
222. It is all twos.
It's a lot of twos going on. What that means? That means this live right here is about to be incredidible.
Yeah.
This is only going to happen once.
Yes, sir. That's true. That's
right. It's amazing. So listen, everyone, I don't know if it's even possible to not even know who this guy is right here. This is Omar Gooding. He's most known for his role in Smart Guy. Also, you might know him from Sweet Pea and the classic Baby Boy. Like you can't I feel like you lose your black card. I'm gonna just say it if you don't know what movie Baby Boy is. Like you're gonna get your black card terminated or suspended at least if you don't know. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna chop it up. You know, it's King Legend Talks.
Let's do it.
So I'm gonna go ahead and address the elephant in the room because you can't avoid it. Let's go. Omar Gooding and it's Baby Boy. You can't avoid that conversation. I know you hear about it all the time. Every time you have an interview, somebody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and address it head on. So I got a confession to make first.
Talk to me.
Okay, so my confession is the first time I ever seen you act in a movie, it was Baby Boy.
Okay.
And I gotta say, if I'm being completely honest, the way that you portrayed your character, I didn't even see it possible for you to play any other type of role because you were so convincing in that role. That's how you know somebody is a great actor, because they convince you, they sell it to you, that is in their DNA.
You saw me acting in as an actor was Baby Boy.
Movie, yes.
Oh, movie wise, okay. But you've seen the TV show.
Yeah, so you know,
Facts. I
gotta say, at the time that I saw Baby Boy, that was my first actual film I seen you in on the movie screen. So
Gotcha.
that was something for me where it was like you sold it, you did it, and you executed to perfection.
Right.
So let's go ahead and talk about what was that process for you like.
Okay, no, man, you got me sitting on guard because I'm like, I thought the question was gonna be something like, have you shot a nigga before? But no, okay. I'm glad we.
No, we're not gonna do that.
The first time, and I was just for show.
No.
You've been locked up.
No, we're not gonna do that.
No, man, that's dope, man. It's a cool little story. It's a bunch of stories, man. There's so much to talk about. 45 years old. You know what I'm saying? I started when I was 12. Actually, I started when I was 9. Booked a couple gigs here and there. Webster, I did a movie with Bill Cosby called Ghost Dad. 12 years old, I landed a series called Wild and Crazy Kids. And, being a black child actor that can speak properly and enunciate his words helped me land that job, because it had to be a kid that had a lot of energy but could also read a lot of lines. And we're describing these games and kids, yellow team, blue team. So that helped me land that job. And then 3 years later, I auditioned for a series called Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And that ran for 5 years straight, consecutive, right? And then one of the executive producers, man by the name of Danny Kalis, started a series called Smart Guy. And then that ran for another 3 years. And I look up and I'm 24 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So incredible childhood, by the way.
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah, right. So, I'm blessed in that regard, right? So I had done other things, and let me just say this. It was difficult for black sitcom actors to be taken serious in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So we would go out for roles and stuff, and no matter how well we performed in the audition room, it would be up to the I wouldn't say as much investors. It's more investor heavy now, and you got to be like, well, who's in the movie type of thing? What's their name? But even the execs back then would say, what do we know him from? So if we bill him in this movie, what are they gonna be like? Oh, that guy from Wild and Crazy Kids, or that kid from Cooper Smart. Next, you know what I mean? It's like, but he has a phenomenal tape. He did so good. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? So you get overlooked because of the sitcom, old school vaudeville type of acting that we would do, even though we're like, wouldn't even let us in the room. But
it's almost like they wanted to keep you on one lane.
Yeah, but once I got in the room, it was over with. You know what I mean?
Right.
So interesting, man. I auditioned for this movie called Freedom Song. Right? It's about the first sit-ins in Mississippi. Right? And me, Jason Weaver was in it. But Jason Weaver got cast, and a bunch of other cats that I messed with for a long time got cast in the film. It was a TNT film. I did not get cast in the film. Right? I'm sitting at home, whatever. I get a call. Yo, remember that movie that you auditioned for? Yeah, I know. Yeah, what we bringing up bullshit. Well, guess what? One of the actors got into an altercation on set and left. And they're calling your ass like, can you come fill in and finish his job, right? And I'm like, explain the altercation. We explained it to our blue in the face. I can throw the nigga under the bus, but I actually love him, so I'm not gonna throw him under. Thank you, brother. Because what happened was I came to fill in, and it's kind of funny. Oh, Danielle Gillette, what's up, mama? I should jump in there. Anyway, we'll get to her in a minute. Once I filled in for this man, and I had it wasn't a huge role. It's called Freedom Song on TNT, and I was one of the kids that sat in, did the sit-ins at the lunch counter, hoping to get arrested during. You feel me? So I didn't get. It wasn't a very big role, but flash forward years and years and years later, I'm 24 years old. I just finished Smart Guy. The whole run of Smart Guy, 3 years, 3 seasons, 75. We get about 75 episodes. We did 25 episode blocks back then. Right. And I get a phone call from John Singleton. And John Singleton says, I called your mom, man, and I told her, I said, I made your oldest son a movie star, and I'd like to do the same thing for her youngest son. I was like, oh, well, go ahead. I'm listening.
That's dope. Like, first of all, who gets phone calls like that? I'm just saying. John Singleton called your mother and told her that she wanted to make her youngest son a star.
A movie star.
A movie star.
Just like he did with my oldest, with her oldest son. Because he's like, I know he does TV and all that, but I want to break him into movies, right? So I he sends me the script. He tells me to go to the gym. You know what I mean? I see in about 3 months. You know what I'm saying? And back at 24, you can lose about 30 pounds in 3 months. Like it ain't nothing. I can do that shit in the weekend when you're 24. You know what I mean? Right. I shaved my head bald and showed up, whatever. But,
I need your workout plan.
Right? But I mean, when I was 20, as a youngster, it was nothing. It was like, just do push-ups, drink some water, and you just
right.
But anyway, so I get there, and I had to sidebar him, like, bro, I read the script, like, yo, how the hell did you see me for this? And he said he saw me in a movie called Freedom Song. I was like, what? I was in there for that long. But he's like, on your face. And I'm like, and you saw Sweet Pea from Baby Boy over those 2
right.
And Freedom Song, you feel me? So and then the process of the movie was interesting. Like I said, you asked the question, I'm gonna give it to you. It's a bunch of different things that happened. So I showed up, and we did a table read, and then we started doing rehearsals at his office at Leimert Park. And everybody was there that was in the movie, except for Snoop. Snoop was about the only one I didn't see until we got on set. But Ving Rhames, Tyrese, Taraji, and Angel, and all these motherfuckers. That was
an amazing cast.
And the first day or two of rehearsal, I was just, kind of cocky about it and whatever. And then finally, at the end of rehearsal, John Singleton looks around the room and says, all right, we'll see you tomorrow for more rehearsals. And he looks me dead in my eyes in front of everybody and says, some of us need to step it up. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I was like, what the fuck?
That was a shot.
Wow.
That was right at you.
Bazooka. Like, I said, all right. Right? So I come back to set the next day, bro, and I'm fired up. So we do improvs, people, my thespians, actors, y'all know what it is. And there's different exercises that we do, and it's like stay in character and this and that and the third. Long story short, I wound up getting into it with people. I'm so fired up. I'm jumping. I get on Ving Rhames. Me and him tussling and wrestling and going on, so forth and so on. I've told this story a bunch of times, so I'm going to just get to the part where at the end of it all, people were like, yo, like, did you take some lessons? I was fired up to that. Like, well, kind of called me out, right? And then John was like, even Ving was like, yeah, nigga, what happened overnight? And I was like, anyway. So John was like, look, man, you almost there. You almost there. You got to learn to internalize all that. Not the look. But all like yelling and screaming, that ain't what thugs do. They ain't the real ones don't do that. You know what I mean?
That was your idea of what a thug was.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, what? I know when I get mad, I get loud as hell. And they're like, calm Nash down. You ain't never been to prison. That's why you doing all that yelling. Calm your little ass down. And I was like, all right. But then, OG Big Cat from 60 Crip, he took me to his hood. Like, I grew up affiliating cats that grew up from Compton and this and that. And I've been a Crenshaw, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? But I grew up I grew up in LA, you know what I mean? But like there's LA and then there's the San Fernando Valley. You know, I'm what they call Valley nigga, as they say. Oh, you from the Valley.
I got you.
Like, all right, nigga, you know.
So but, I'm not from LA. So when you say the Valley,
it's like the suburbs, like versus like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, but shit is happening out there. But still,
just not on that level like it is in the hood.
So we would go to the hood like that, like on the weekends and hang out and that type of thing. But you know, the thing about somebody's hood is you go if you from there. If you ain't from there, you better be with somebody that's from there. You out of bounds, you get caught up. So I went where I was invited. You know, I'd be in Watts, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, he a real when he out here in Watts." Yeah, my nigga from Watts. He grew up right there. That's why we are out here. Like, you know, I don't go by myself. But anyway, so Cat took me around. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he's like, just pay attention. Like, look around. Look how niggas is acting. Look how people look. Look at that look in their face. That's what you gotta like relax. Like, that's what you all that. Shut that shit up, bro. Like, that's not it. You feel me? So, couple hanging out with him a little bit, and then some things that I went through in my past. You know what I mean? And just like being out in the streets. Like, believe it, I tell you, oh man, I've been acting since I was 12. Oh, you just a little rich nigga from 12. I know that job. You know,
I know that had to be uncomfortable for you though, going out into the hood, because I look at it from a perspective of, you know, a real street dude. He looking at you like, what you doing here? Like, you out of place right now. You know what I'm saying?
Now I can imagine if I'm like, you know, I met some female, she live in the hood, and I go fuck with her, and I show up by myself. That's a problem. Right. You know what I mean? You got that thing on your forever, nigga. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Right. But if you going with the reputable, you going with the dude that's his, you know what I mean? So yeah, I get those looks like, ain't that dude from? Yeah, he with me though. Oh, okay, cool, OG, I got you. You know what I mean? So it was never, you know, all right, head up, fade, you and you, like, you know, it's funny too. One thing I'll never forget, OG said, look, we gonna go out. But when we go out, some shit go down, don't you be no weenie, nigga. You better get, I don't fuck about this acting, none of that.
I know that had you fired up.
Get down. Boy, I was so fired up. It was fucked. Luckily, nothing never really popped off, but I was looking for shit. You know what I mean? You ever been with a female and she said something that make her like, yeah, well, nigga, it's not like you gonna fight or nothing. And you be like, oh, hell no, I can't wait to knock a nigga out. Like, I'm looking for shit. Like, I can't wait to prove, you know what I mean? Just as a man, like, y'all be watching TV too much.
Like, y'all think I'm soft.
Yeah, because you know, if I'm playing dumb, now you think I'm dumb. You know, I play the part of the nigga that's stupid as hell, or the nice guy or whatever. Oh, he must be a nice guy. Ah, damn, you gonna learn. You know what I mean? But anyway, but this is a young dude that, you know, that got me in situations that God got me out of, and, you know, God is good. Absolutely. So anyway, after hanging with him and kind of doing that, and then, you know, being with real ones, and then bringing my dudes on set and type of thing, I was so comfortable that it wound up being an easy shoot. You know what I mean? But I kept myself. Now, the other problems that occurred were people that work together like to develop camaraderie. They want to bond. You know what I mean? And I just wasn't with that shit. You know, I met the girl that played my girlfriend in it, actually became my girlfriend in the movie, in real life. They said cut, we kept going because we were developing a bond, but that was it. I wasn't trying to be friends with Tyrese and go to his house. I wasn't
trying to be friends with everybody.
You go see me over here or come to my spot. We got a bunch of niggas in the house. We can hang out, chill, and act like homies.
I know Tyrese had to be ticked off a little bit about that.
Hell yeah, he was pissed. Nigga, we went squared off about it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it was like, well, you do your job, I'll do mine. I bet that. You know what I mean? And that created a little bit of a rift. And then with the other cast members too, they was just like, damn, is Omar coming to dinner with us? Nah, he going home with his girl. He got his boys, he know, and that's that. You know, because, you know,
some people might look at that like his ego though. You know, they might feel some type of way.
Maybe. If so, so be it. But I mean, that. But you know, now again, that was 24. I'm 45. At 24, I didn't care what people thought. You know, and that would put me on the little island, and people like, yeah, not as difficult, but just like, I'm not sitting there worried about. But you know, people like, oh man, you did this movie with such and such, and this show with such and such. Y'all hang out all the time. I'm like, no.
Right.
Why? Well, think about it. If I go out somewhere and I'm just like a people person. I don't give a damn. I'm not. Hey, you want a selfie? Hell yeah. You want an autograph? Of course, nigga. I'm happy you want a picture with me. You know what I mean? So I engage with folks. Now, if something happens and somebody says something dumb, like you look just like radio, nigga. Okay, there's a real problem that may happen right now. You know what I mean? Who got my back? The nigga I did a TV show with, or like, no. I need somebody real.
So you trust who you trust.
Like you feel me? And that's just how I operate. Now I've learned to be able to look, people just want to get to know you. They want to know who they're working with for years and years, or even just a few months. So Take the shield down and hang out. Don't just say it's a wrap, run off to your car and go home. Don't just speed out of there. This is for people that's up and coming. They keep asking me for advice. Learn to socialize without doing too much. You know when it's finna get bad. When they start passing around that plate and then bottles and them things, you know, oh, it's about to turn up. All right, that's
I think everybody can feel when that vibe and that energy.
You know when that vibe is.
You know when it's time to exit. Definitely.
Right? The female,
and then normally some of the people that will stay
to his room with him, and we were just gonna change and come back down. But you know not to go up the room.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And dudes is the same thing. You know what you can and cannot do, or what you willing to do and will not do. And you know when it's finna get crazy, just make that exit. But it still show up to the function and meet and greet and take some pictures and then get your ass out of there. Unless you with it. You know what I'm saying? So it took me a while to really open up and be like, oh yeah, let's hang out. Let's do whatever it is. Oh, what y'all want to do? I ain't in a rush. You know, you coming home. I'll be home when I get there. I gotta finish. I gotta hang with my, you know what I mean? So it was evolution. But that baby boy, that set, that's kind of where I figured that thing out, you know. Later on.
I can only imagine.
Like, oh, mess with him, but you know, it just wasn't like that. Like with Smart Guy was different. Me and Jay, we thick as Steve Steele. You know what I mean? But not me and Taj, because he was, 10 years old at the time or whatever it was. Like, I didn't, by the time he would hang out the way I like to hang out, I moved on to something, you know what I'm saying? But like JJ, we was thick as Steve, Essence, cool as hell. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. So being on that set, I feel like in every film, whenever people are shooting a movie, there's always those moments where the cast can really just have a good time, have fun. And it's some, funny moments that happen. For you, can you name or think of a funny moment that took place when you were shooting the film Baby Boy?
Wow, that joke was classic, man. So there's so many things. Most of them I kind of breeze through. I didn't feel like telling the same story that I've told in interviews. But while we were filming, I mean, it's so much, man. But there's a lot of interesting tidbits about the film itself. Like people will tell me things like, yo, man, I know you. People that know me say, did you write that part? Or that unstable creatures, that was you, huh? Or that prayer, that was your prayer, wasn't it? Like, look, bro, John Singleton was a true writer-director. True writer-director. I mean, some guys write the script and then go, feel free to embellish. No. John will do an embellish.
Not happening.
That 2 or 3 weeks that we had of rehearsing, that was when you can embellish, right? We're doing improvs. And I told you, he looked me in my eye and said, nigga, you step it up. So I was fired up. I was making up shit. I remember last week, we went over, you owe me money from that still. She's like, what you talking about? So I remember at the end of the day, he was like, try to stick to the script more when you improv. But I love your energy,
Right.
But when we got down, everything, this is the fun fact, the point that I was going to get to is some of the favorite scenes that I hear about is like the prayer, right? We finished filming the movie and then showed, we did some we showed it to a couple different audiences, right? I should have turned.
Okay.
And asked for their feedback, right? What everybody kept saying was, one, why were we killing Snoop so gruesome over nothing? Now, what I mean by that is we happened to do reshoots after we showed it to the people. Now, the reshoots included us, killing Snoop in a less gruesome fashion. So the way you see it, either as BET or uncut, the way we shot him up, blah, 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 that was redone because the first time was just crazy as hell. Wow. And then second was the reasoning behind it. All he had did is come back home and move in with his girl, and we went and shot him up. But what we added to the movie on reshoots was the prayer scene and the drive-by scene. 2 of the biggest parts of the movie.
Now that definitely changes the perspective
of the whole joint. So, like we said, well, we got to figure a reason. I mean, not me. I didn't sit there with him. He figured it out. John said, I know an idea. We gonna have him come over and talk about what he should do. We say no, then we'll go sit outside on the porch. Snoop gonna pull up, drive by, shoot us up. We think he's dead. He do that whole thing. All those favorite parts of the movie he added later to it. So,
that's amazing.
Fact. It's crazy, right?
That's amazing. When I watch the movie, the scene that always tugs at me the most is when the Young Thugs was lined up in that straight line. And, you and Jody was doing your thing. You trying to show Jody how it's done. Yeah. But what really got me was the belt. That part.
So I'm glad that you said this stuff because this will help spark my memory on the things that happened. It's been a long, beautiful life, man, but I gotta tap into it. So there's a couple things about that. For one, that was one of the scenes that touched near and dear to my heart when I read the script. because I was in a situation with a partner of mine, like my ace, dude I looked up to. And it was him, myself, and one other person at a function. And we weren't jumped in that regard, but yeah, because I didn't get touched. But in the sense of they walked up, where you from and all that, and we squared up, circled like, are you behind me? It's my dude, let's go. And they started to, it was punk. And the funny is they was younger than us. They was some little niggas, right? Yeah. So we get surrounded in the club. We got caught slipping because it was close to the house that we lived in. So we just, my nigga had on house shoes. I just wanted some sandal, whatever the hell. We thought it was a little barbecue, bunch of little girls and shit. We get over there and there's a bunch of niggas just come out of nowhere. You know, even though they was younger, we was like, but you little niggas, I wish y'all niggas would, right? Right. You know, but they wouldn't do shit. They start throwing shit. So it separated us. And when we got separated, you know, I remember they threw a bottle at me and I ducked. It was a good throw. Like it should have hit me. But luckily I was nimble. I was flexible then. So I dropped so low that when I got up, I remember hearing the shit shatter, and then they all of a sudden went, ooh, ooh. And I'm like, what the fuck are they oohing about? And I looked over, my nigga was laid the fuck out. And I didn't know if he was stabbed, shot, or what the fuck, but he wasn't moving. I thought he was dead. So then I rush over to him, and they're, like I said, some little niggas, they're like, oh shit, all excited. We got him. And they ran all the fuck out. And I'm holding him, and the blood on my hand, back of his head's leaking. And, you know, it was a fucked up moment. But also, I knew, you know, I had peoples and this and that and all that, blah, 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 yada, yada. There was never any closure for me for that event at the time. You know, shit happened. God took care of it. One dude ain't with that. Half the dudes is gone. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, gone, like out of here?
Gone. You know what I mean? But not from me. It was one of those, we all like, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? Well, we gonna see if my nigga make it, for one. You know, he was out. We was like, ooh, and he wasn't the type of dude, when he come to, it's gonna be, whoo. But since he had split his head open, he came back, he woke up like, what happened? We were like, that's probably a blessing. But we explained him what happened, and we were still waiting for that retaliation type of thing or whatever we were going to do. And I know I got a career and I got da-da-da-da. But God took care of it. They're like, well, let me let you know this shit is done with. But took care of it in his own way. But for me, I still felt like I didn't get any closure. I didn't get to retaliate. He didn't knock him out. I started swinging on niggas. No. I was like, oh, shit. Shit slowed down. You know what I mean? So from that incident to the time I got the script for Baby Boy, it had to be probably about a year or so. You know what I mean? So then when I saw the script and I'm like, what? Some little niggas? Like, there's a whole lot of real shit behind them eyes when I'm standing there and you see the close up and I'm looking around in the park and all that. Just fuck all that shit. Stand them little niggas up. All that shit was authentic because it was a release for me of some shit that was your closure. I could have,
So that was your closure. What happened when you were filming?
God said, well, at least you can release this shit in a classic way without having to go to jail by trying to retaliate, ride around looking for niggas and all that dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? And he like, I got this shit here. You just hold on to that and use it where you need some acting shit, right? So that's half the story. Then the other part of it that's so funny is, and I'm gonna just throw his ass under the bus because it is what it is. The little nigga that I was whipping in the story, when we were doing in the movie, when we did the rehearsals, I put off my actual belt, but I made sure to swing as wide as I could because, you know, I'm not trying to really hit him. We actors.
Yeah.
But after we blocked it, what we block is when you go through, you know, the movements and the actions, and then you go get dressed, and then we come film it for real. So while we were in our trailer going to get dressed, I had to knock on my trailer, open it up, and it's a dude in the scene with me today, and he goes, hey, OG, look, man, is there any way you can not hit me with the belt? Because you done tore my legs up on both sides. I was like, oh, shit, I'm sorry, Lord. I didn't know I really hit you. Right. So they went out and got a fake belt. It was a styrofoam belt that looked just like the belt I was wearing, so that in the scene I could just go ahead and freely tear his ass up. But it was a fake belt.
That's incredible. Cause I was about to say, I can only imagine if you had all of that built up and you didn't get that closure, how it really was.
He got all that built up in rehearsal ass whooping. He got a whole rehearsal worth of ass whooping. I'm sorry. I said to my G's watching now, I'm sorry, G. I didn't try to hit you with the belt. I saw little niggas from somewhere else.
Like, hold on, wait a minute. I might have to rethink my career after this. This guy is beating me up.
For real. Like, if he don't let me go, where's my agent? Is this sad? No.
That's something. So, you know, what I like to say is your family is no stranger to fame. You know, your father, Cuba Gooding Jr, was one of the lead singers in the main ingredient.
Yes, sir.
And played a huge part in the classic, you know, title "Everyone Plays the Fool."
Yes,
I'm sorry. which actually hit number 2 on the billboards on the R&B charts in 1972.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then we got to talk about your brother, an Oscar.
Just a little Oscar. Yeah,
just a little Oscar.
Yeah, I mean,
how does that feel to be in a family where fame is part of living? You know,
wow, well said. Well said. Good question too. Because I get people that ask like this, wow, how does it feel to be an actor? How does it feel to be blah blah blah? And my answer is always the same, but I'm gonna try to answer it a little different to give you a little better perspective. It feels normal to me. That's my normal. As I raise kids and as my brother raised his children, as they grew up, I always was like, how's it at school? What's in that? Oh, what you mean? How is it? Isn't everybody's dad an actor? Isn't this the norm? This isn't it. I don't shelter. I was never oh, well, don't go over there. You're come on. My mom was very conscious of it. She was beautiful. She was always like, you a star. You don't go do that. No, honey, you don't do this different. I remember we were filming a movie, this TV show called Royal Family. It's Lorenz Tate, Fox, and so many people were in it. Stuff. Back in the day, Google it. And I was like, I had a reoccurring role. And I remember it was a live studio audience. And my mom always said, make sure you stay where you're supposed to stay. Don't just be wandering off now because there's a live studio audience. And I'm like, okay, there's real people. Aren't we all humans? It's like, all right, do what you got to do. And I was like, cool. On a break, I went to go to the bathroom. And I walked past the bathroom that I decided to use was near the audience. And they were leaving. They were letting the audience out. And the little girl, she was probably the same age as me, saw me. Oh my God, you're on the show, and jumped on my neck, right? And I was like, yeah, that's me. Oh God. She was so incensed and crazed that I couldn't break her grip. She was just like, this is him. I was like, wait a minute, hell.
Did you?
I'm I don't know, 13, 14, whatever years old, but I was just like, wait a minute. I've never experienced someone, unless I'm fighting them, with that much strength on happiness. You know what I mean? And I remember, never forget the look in her eye. Oh my God. And I was just like, somebody get this girl on. And they had to come, run, grab her. Go on, miss. You ain't supposed to go. And I was like, Jesus. I was scratched all around my neck. So I remember kind of slowly turn around, look at my mom. She would have made that.
Was there ever a moment where you realized that maybe I'm too well known at this point, or did people just kind of already know you? People that knew you were just comfortable around you, so it wasn't really nothing crazy, as in fame. So, like, when you were growing up, when did you realize that my family is a little bit?
I see. Let me stick to your question. So, yeah, I ramble. Thanks for bringing me back. No, and that goes to my point about that story. I'm already like 14, 15 years old. I would go to my father's shows. And it was just amazing to watch him perform on stage, and all these people behind, thousands of people screaming, and he's singing a note. I'm backstage with the laminated passes, watching him sing, the rehearsals and the dressing rooms and the famous stuff. Oh, that's the OJ, all that shit. But it just was normal to me. It wasn't like, man, I'm different. This is amazing. Thank you, God. I always thank you for the experience. But it was just normal to me. It wasn't like, oh, when your brother won the Oscar, that changed everything for y'all. Yeah, it did. Yes, it did. It did in a positive way. Now, we were both actors at the time. I mean, we still are, but you know what I mean? So people were like, oh, the pressure's on for you. And I was like, that's not how Oscars work with black folks, at least not back then. When he got an Oscar, we got an Oscar.
It was a family award.
Family, us, the culture, got an Oscar. They weren't handing out, but you can still count on one or two hands how many Oscars have gone to African Americans. When he got it, was like, hell yeah. I didn't think he was my brother. I was just like, they gave it to a nigga. That's how I felt when he got that. He beat. It's funny is that a lot of people get, people get snubbed in Oscars. Sometimes it's, the guy that deserves it gets it. Sometimes they, you know what I mean? That year, Ed Norton did a movie that was so fucking phenomenal. When I watched the movie, I said, oh, he ain't winning it. Bro, I'm sorry, bro. They ain't giving it to this one. This cat was so good in this fucking movie. He played like a schizophrenic, and he snaps at the end, and he did a phenomenal job. He got snubbed because my brother, who did deserve the Oscar, and it's funny, I remember 2 times. I remember being at the premiere, watching it, going, not bad. And then being at home, watching it again and going, damn, that shit was dope. So So he definitely deserved it. It was beautiful movie, but I didn't think it was just gonna be a gimme. I was like,
Yeah.
man, no way in hell. So I remember when the camera showed up to my house and said, we want to film your reaction when they announce who wins the Oscar. And I'm like, word? Y'all just gonna show up because if you don't win, it's gonna be hard getting out of here with all that equipment. No. Come on in. But you know what I mean? We got the whole
Right.
like knock it off, you know what I mean? So they're like, we just have a hunch. I'm like, yeah, all right. And all I remember was, and the Oscar goes to Q, you know what I mean? And it kind of went black. It was just a blur. I was just like, I can't believe he won. But it was a plus for me. Now, when I go into auditions and when I meet with producers and this and that, it wasn't a given that we were brothers because my last name isn't Junior for some reason, but even though that's a common mistake that I swear to you happened the other day. I was on live and a dude wanted to do a quick interview with me. And I'm like, live, y'all gonna be watching me while we do this interview? Yeah. And he was like, yo, I'm here with the one and only, the legendary Omar Gooding Jr. I said, stop.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, move your ass on. Anyway, you see this shit still
That's so embarrassing. That's so embarrassing.
It's embarrassing both ways, bro. I mean, it felt like you had to walk off. I was just like, how are people? And I kind of get it. Like, okay, this is, I don't know, Sammy Davis Jr. and his brother's name is Thomas. So that's Tommy Davis Jr. Like, no, that's just not how it goes, people. You got to think it clearly. But, anyway, so it happens. But anyway, so it's not just common knowledge that we're brothers. A lot of people, I post something now, but me and my brother, like, oh, shit, yeah, Gooding, duh. Right? Yeah. But I would go into audition rooms and, the people looking, they go, Omar Gooding, good to meet you. Any relation? And I go, yeah, that's my brother. They go, oh my God, I love him. I love him.
So, all right. So how does that feel, though? How does that feel? Do you ever feel like you're walking in a shadow, or you're excited? Like that's cool.
What I'm trying to say. It was it's never been a negative until he started going on TMZ too much. It has never been a bad thing, my brother, to be a brother of an Oscar winner, even as an actor. You feel me? So it was always an icebreaker. It was always because, I guess, and this is probably the first time I'm saying this, probably because I have talent, because I'm talented. Now, shit.
Yeah,
and then like, oh, that's your brother? Good luck. And then they read, but yeah, thanks for coming in. We know we're all the talent winning in this family. That'd be different.
I think it's a good thing that people have to ask, though. And I'll tell you why. It's because you get to walk in your own lane. True. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of times where people are part of a certain family and, oh, your dad was a quarterback in the NFL. He was a Hall of Famer. Of course you're going to be in the NFL. And I expect nothing less. But because some people have to ask that question, that means your talent is really doing the speaking for itself.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah. That's what's up. I mean, and the two of us are 10 years apart, too. It's another thing people don't get. They were like, well, how come y'all brothers ain't in, going to red carpets and this and that, hanging out? I was the little brother. You know what I mean? Still ain't. Right. But, can I go with you? No, get your own friends. Like, I got my thing going. I want to go and stop wearing my clothes. Like, I was the little, yeah. Oh, so he was the damn. You sure? You can rap. Why don't you do that? Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And there was never no beef. It's just that we were our own men and we're both alpha males. So it's like, when we're together, I kind of always revert to the little brother. No matter what, 45 and 55, but still, it's like, hey, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? But
absolutely.
Growing up, it was just different thing. He was breakdancing, I was rapping. Like it was, two different eras in my opinion.
So let's talk about your rapping a little bit.
Let's
So where did your passion come from? I know this is a question you probably get all the time, but you can't get around it. Everyone wants to know, where did your passion for rap come from?
Yeah. So it's interesting. Just like when people saw Baby Boy, when people hear me rap, they go, damn, I was shocked. And I don't take that as an insult. I totally fucking get it. If you grow up watching me do Wild and Crazy Kids, Henry Cooper, Smart Guy, and then turn on Baby Boy, you go, what the fuck was that? Where did that shit come from? Right?
Right.
So if you know me as an actor, acting ass nigga, and then hear me spit, you go, what the wait, rewind that shit. Did he just say, wait a minute? And I write the type of shit that I wrote the shit. Like
there's no cussing.
This is insider shit. So so I've always been a fan of wordplay. Of hip hop, like the first song that I ever memorized was "The Show" by Dougie Fresh, back in '80 something, and I did it at a talent show. But then as a young adult, the second song that I memorized was "Far Side," right? So Far Side, hieroglyphics, and Busta Rhymes, Leaders of New, like that was my era, like backpack rapping. So that's where that part comes from.
Right.
Spitting. I've always been able to speak clearly, right? So I remember listening to the Fushnikins back in the day. and they had one rapper that had a line. One of the Foosh niggas had a line that I remember. I read it, I said it back, and it was the thicker, the richer, the bigger, the better, the something. The thicker, the richer, the bigger, the. And I was like, whoa! And I rapped along with it, and I realized then that there are certain words that are easier, at least for me, that are easier to say after another. So if I want to rap fast, like I got a song called Homage that's out. When you hear it, you like, damn, he's spitting so fast and shit. How do you do that? Well, it took a minute to write it all out, but I used words that I know flow fast together. Like my hat goes off to Twister. Seems like it's like run that shit fast. I don't know how you do that.
That's amazing.
Like how I choose roles. I choose roles I know I can slay. And they go, hey, phenomenal actor. Yeah, but I'm trial and error. You know what I mean? I talk shit about earlier about radio, but my hat come all the way off to my brother in radio, man.
Man, that was an incredible role.
Bro, you think that shit easy? Try it. Now, people do stuff, no disrespect to mentally challenged, to learning disabled and cats like that. So you got to, it's tricky and touchy. But I've tried it. Like I auditioned for that, and I left, and they were like holding back laughter, and it wasn't a comedy. You feel me? So I was like, I thought I could do anything, but I learned what my lane was. I learned what roles I could kill. I learned what roles what I like to see in myself as well. You know what I mean? I think strongly about, people say, oh, there's certain things you have to do. Every black man puts on a dress and they emasculate them. Every da-da-da. I was like, no, they don't. I've never seen Denzel in a dress, and I'm quite positive I never will. You know what I mean? I have a couple heroes in acting, and I see, and I was like, oh, fucking Forrest Whitaker. I don't see these niggas going that route. You know what I mean? So, no, don't feel like you have to do anything. That's just like the social part of it when they talk about, females in the casting couch, or guys getting OD'd on drugs, blah, blah, blah. Don't feel like you have to do none of that shit. Let them call you this or that or the third, and go your ass home. You see them tomorrow, and they tune the change. But it's the same thing with the music. To long-windedly get back to your point, how I'm passionate is one. You said it. My father was Cuba Gooding of the main ingredient. He was a songwriter. He was a singer. He was passionate about it. My mother also was a singer. She was signed to the Sweethearts in Brunswick back in the day, in the 70s, 60s, and met my father and then became his wife and raised his children. But she got hell. She still manages me today. She's still getting the check. Because of this up here and her passion with entertaining and her smarts with knowing things that come on now. You're older and wiser. Yeah, don't go over there. You gotta know you're an entertainer. It's different. Every movement is a picture. You know what I mean? You live long and laugh. You gotta act like this is your only shot. And so many things, jewels that she's giving me and my father's giving me. As far as the music, it's all about the era. Now, I think if I was born in his era, I probably would have been singing around a trash can. I would have. You know what I mean? But my era was hip hop. It was rap.
That's so true. A lot of people don't understand how true to what you just said. There is an era for everything. Some people, you can hear them today and you be like, man, if you was in the 80s or the 90s, you were killing it right now.
Right, bro. So so with me it was easy, man. But I think the tricky part, as I put out music like in my 40s, people are like, what took you so long? What have you been waiting on? I remember a brother told me something about 10 years ago. He said, man, you were holding the West Coast back. I said, what the fuck does that mean? He's like, you got all this music that you just never released. And I can't release it now because it's dated. You know what I'm saying? Shit like Chronic or Roller. Weird old shit. And I'm just like, nah, I can't release that song, but that's my joint,
Right. Be like, we're just getting used to saying lit.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, exactly. So now, I so what started it really when I really wanted to put out an album, because a lot of things, it's been a journey. I've obviously, my bread and butter has been acting, so but I've always been rapping too. You know what I mean? I've always been rapping. It's just that I didn't have any hits. I signed a deal to 3 different labels. The last one I signed to was QD3 and the Sound Lab, Quincy Jones' son's label, right? And we had this big, we were about to drop and all this. And my dad issued. He worked it out. He was kind of managing me, my music side. And we had this deal, was ready to go. Tupac gets killed, and the label shuts down because he was supposedly going to marry his sister and so forth and so on. So they just went. I was just kind of like, damn. And then it seemed to me like him dying and Biggie dying also changed the culture too. And I mean, that's kind of a duh statement, but it's like people were scared to be aggressive with their rap and so forth and so on. And you got the kind of the Molly and the dancing and the slurred rap and the mumble and all that that kind of came because it kind of just went a different way. And I kind of was like, I don't want no part of that. But, you know, life happened, you know what I mean? But I've always been a fan of hip hop and acting and movies and stuff, you know what I mean? So I'm very passionate about putting something out. If I have something to add to the culture, I'm going to do it. I'm not just going to put out some bullshit. You know, I do something and they go, oh, wow, yeah, you spit. Why don't you do a rap about Smart Guy and say something about that? I was like, no, nigga, no. You know what I mean? Yo, you rap. Well, you should be, you know, I didn't hear any cursing in that. It should be Christian rap. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Listen. You know what I mean? So now it's kind of funny. It's kind of like my edge is rapping about me, giving people, this is the other thing that I was trying to ramble about, is that I first put music out under Big O. That's my nickname. People know me. That know me. Yeah. They know me as Big O. So I released this whole album under Big O. And people were like, where's your album? I can't find Omar Gooding anywhere. And I'm like, oh, you got to look under Big O. And you pull up Big O, there's like 12 different Big O's in there. And it's like, no, it's not the Mexican. No, it's not the Big Simone dude. Then I keep scrolling down. At the bottom. I was like, what the hell? So I re-released the album, and it's called The Excuse, and you can get it on iTunes. That's what's got homage and everything on there under Omar Gooding. And then I just released the album called I had to laugh because it's been such a labor of love these last 2 years with everything that everybody's been going through, right? Styley Ray presents Old Money Volume 1 starring Omar Gooding. So we play on a lot of that. But when you press play on this album, you're going to hear a lot of everything that I've just been talking about in it. Wow. Subtly and not so subtly. My brother is in it, and then you know what I mean? Because I do the wordplay. I feel like if it's not a contribution to hip hop, then I'm gonna just leave this shit alone. I'm gonna leave it in the drawer. Some cats music just because they can. I don't believe in that. And I see Pops looking down like, you better do that thing. So I've discovered auto tunes in a way that you ain't got to sound like T-Pain. All right. Okay. Not, and again, no knock to T-Pain because I love that brother and I met him. He's actually a cool dude and he could really sing. So it's like, okay, you do what you do. But I didn't know that you could just make yourself sound good without having to be, you know what I mean? So a lot of people got T-Pain twisted. He can actually sound like that without the auto-tune. Yes. It makes him sound better, but he definitely, that's like his voice. Yeah. Like he really does sound like that. It's like, oh, it's my favorite song, and they ain't got the auto-tune on their mic, and they just singing, and you go, oh, damn. No, sound nothing like auto-tune on the mic. Look, if you put auto-tune on your shit, that makes sure it's on for your live performances, brother. Let me tell you that. Right. It is kind of sad. It is kind of sad a little bit with the auto-tune, only because some people cannot perform without it. Like, imagine, you know, your stage presence, your stage performance, and you ain't got the auto-tune, and it's just different. Bro, you know, I'm saying that goes back to what I was talking about my father and my mother, man. They grew up in an era where it was, you know, it's hard. I don't want to sound like them because it's kind of funny. Like, when we were listening to Boyz II Men and Jodeci and all that, my pops would be like, man, if you don't knock it off, them niggas all singing out their nose and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't even know what that meant. It took me a while to even get to, what do you mean singing out your nose? They singing. But they looked down upon our generation. And then I would rap, and my dad would go, damn, I fucks with that. Like, I like your rap. I don't know about everybody else, but I like how you doing. I'm like, how do I bridge that gap? You know what I mean? There is talent in hip hop. Not only just saying something, but making it rhyme and actually mean something. You know what I mean? There's a lot of nuances to that shit. And it was a passion for me. So I was just like, okay, that was that era. This is our era. And then, you know, oh, what about these youngsters and how they doing with the skinny jeans and the mumble rap and da-da-da. Look, there's still talent there. They looked at us the same fucking way. Like, so my thing is trying to bring back hip hop. I remember you would go in the room back in like right around the Tupac. I keep talking about the Tupac Biggie era because it was something when you say I rap, they'd be like, oh shit. There was a respect that came in any room when you mean like Tupac? Oh, I love that. Is true. Music. You know what I mean? And now you say I rap, it's just like, shit. Everybody does it. It's like, damn. So that's what youngsters is getting misconstrued when we talk about bringing hip hop back. We just want to make sure that it's up there when you say a genre of music or saying I'm a musician or I do hip hop. That people respect that. They don't just go, oh, you want them niggas running around with a chain and shooting and blah, 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 Molly and blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Yeah. and you just made a huge point, man, because a lot of people has definitely lost the respect for the craft. You know, it's been so dumbed down to the point where people just either like it or they don't. And there's no in between. Like, the creative level on that was amazing. You know, the creative process seems to have just gone to 1 minute,
singles,
love
and
when
we're
I
out of here.
rewind a song and be like, what did he say there? Oh shit, and decipher what. Oh wait a minute, that means what he meant, blah blah blah. And it's dope. Niggas is creative now. The wordplay is coming back better. It's coming back to be like,
Right.
Nice, rewind that shit. I respect the hell out of Eminem, but I think he just does a little too much because he's whatever's going on in his mind, he just throws everything in there. So me and my
right, nobody safe. Nobody safe.
Oh my god. But it's like, let me rewind it and then dissect everything. He put more content in one verse than doing a whole album. It's so much shit he put in. I think it's to his detriment. Like it's almost too much. That's why they don't put him on the rush. Right. That's the fact that he's white, because it's kind of like, oh, you exploited this. All these alarms and messages coming in. My fault. It's almost 8 o'clock. That's why.
So while I'm talking to you, I just want to go ahead and give you a compliment really quick, man. I took the time on my day to go ahead and watch the AM and the radio, and I gotta say, listen, the way you portrayed that role, the dialogue, I can only imagine how difficult it was for you to remember all those lines. I mean, the whole movie was basically your line.
Yeah.
Like, how was that process for you?
Bro, my hats go off. My hat goes off to Bentley Kyle Evans. If you don't know who Bentley Kyle Evans is, he is the writer, producer of a series that we did called Family Time. We did 91 episodes of that. But he started on Jamie Foxx. Then he started on Martin. Then he did Jamie Foxx, his EP. And then he came with a couple other shows. Love That Girl's where we met. I did like a cameo there. And he's like, I got the script for Family Time. And I did Family Time with him. And it was a heavy workload, bro. We would do 13 episodes in like a month.
Wow.
And we would do like 50, 60 pages a day on film days. And it was nuts. Like, it got to the point where I'd get mad. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? I thought I just learned this scene. Yeah, well, the other actress ain't ready, so now we're doing this scene. I was like, motherfucker. And I remember walking outside, mad as hell. And I'm going over the lines, doing it. It's like push-ups, bro. Just the more you do, the easier it becomes. And it was just such a heavy workload. Now, whoever can throw a book at me, and I'll be like, just give me a minute.
You condition your mind to get to that level,
bro. It ain't the same as it was before. Like I always be like, well, how do you memorize those lines? I'll be like, Bentley. Whether he knew it or not, he was making me a bad motherfucker when it comes to memorize the lines. But that film, man, to me too, it's when you can connect with something, it makes it almost easy. Like Baby Boy, like I said, once I was connected and all the way in, it was easy. You know what I mean? When I read, even with Family Time, he read it and I was playing this dad that's a young dad who has these kids in this new generation that he doesn't quite understand. That shit was easy. Every day on set was easy, but the lines were good too. So I was a writer on that too, so that made it easy. But anyway, with AM Radio, when I got the script, shout out to Ricky Burchell. He sent me this script that he wrote for somebody. He wrote for another actor. And I read it and I just said, oh shit, hell yes, let's do it. And I got it. My team put it together. And they made their offer. We countered. We got locked in. Everything was good. Pandemic hit. Everything shut down. My agents were like, yo, get ready to just, hope you was doing good with your money and your Bitcoin and shit. It's going to be, I'll see you in a couple years, right?
Right.
It was more like a couple months. And I called Ricky. I said, so how's everything going? And he's like, man, I'm sitting my hands like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, what's going on? He's like, oh, don't talk to me like that. Listen, you tell me how much you need. You know what I mean? Let's cut out some middlemen here. Let's get a skeleton crew together. I know we're in the middle of this pandemic, but read the script. It's you in the booth for most of it and just eating up these fucking lines and this and that, da, 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 and the third, bro. Let's get to work. And I'm like, let's do it. Right. So, I came in on the producer end, which is great too, because I helped with the editing, which is like the best part of it all for me. Watching the first cut of the film to the final cut, after I put my input on it and going back and forth and sitting in the editing room, like that part was the best part of it for me. But when I read the script and being in a quarantined out in Tennessee, I live in LA, but we flew out to Tennessee where he lived, and at the Airbnb, and it's just me and a script. You feel me? For like a month.
You had to make it come to life.
Oh man! And then the fucking George Floyd thing happened right there. I'm watching CNN, fucking crying and throwing shit around the room. Like there was so much built up. So when we went to see action on the first tape, boy, after they said cut, the fucking crew was. They was like, I ain't never seen no shit like that before. There's some hidden cue cards around here. How the fuck did you just spit all that shit out? And it was just loaded up and go, man. I would go the night before. and I would look at it, blah, 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 blah. I would read it a few times. I'd sit down, look at something else, and just flip it over again, and then just say the words, and it would just file in, man. It's like a computer. And then I would just dump them and go to the next scene. But I felt like, this is dope. Like, that was the one time where I felt as an actor, like, this is dope, because I have to memorize these words. I have all these feelings of uncertainty in the world, and my young kids at home, and I'm this far away, and CNN and fucking, all that shit. So I gotta hold this emotion in check until it's time, versus the lines that needed either to come out in this way, be it anger, be it sadness, whatever. And he's dealing with mental health and fucking alcoholism and shit, which is easier to relate to.
Right.
But and push through it and hit all these story points and whatnot. It was it was definitely, for me, I was happy when I saw it all, that it came out the way I saw it in my head. A lot of times not a lot of times, a few times I've done films and shows and been like, wow, this is going to be great. And I watch it and go, oh my God, who is the editor on this? But it didn't come off the way. Even with music, sometimes I'll write a lyric, I'll write a whole verse, and then I'll go in there and spit it and be like, play it back. Oh, hell no. Start over. So you never know how it's going to be until you hear it or until you see it. But that one, it came across the right way. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I'm glad the feedback and everybody that's been able to see, now that it's everywhere now, Peacock, Tubi, Amazon Prime, there's no excuse to not see it. You can stream, stop watching this and stream it right now.
Go check it out right now. I'm telling you, you won't regret it.
Yeah. A lot of people thought it was an actual AM radio show. They're like, oh, so you on AM radio now, huh? You'll be playing.
I'm not gonna lie. I did a little bit when I first saw it. Cause I saw it on your Instagram. Yeah. And when I saw it, I was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, he got a little podcast going on or something like that.
That's why I saw Ricky. If you watch it, see what I told you, I'm gonna make a film by Ricky Bichelle, a little bit bigger on that poster, so they see, film, because there's like little writing under the title says a film. I'm like, bro, they looking on their phone now.
That was dope. Now, as far as the actual story go, I don't want to get into it because I want people to actually watch it.
Yeah.
But let's talk about mental health a little bit, how that is important, and what words of encouragement could you give to somebody that may have suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, brother. It's a lot too, because and it sounds like I'm shamelessly plugging everything, but everything kind of tied in together. I have a song that I wrote right during it was right when I was filming this, called "You Are Not Alone." Right, that is on the soundtrack of the soundtrack. It's the number, I think, 4 on the album that I just dropped. And it basically, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and it was just one of those conversations that a lot of us had during 2020. Of, man, this is happening to me, and then this is happening to me, and it's like a snowball effect, and you feel like it's just happening to you, like this is an isolated fucking phenomenon. No, the world. The one thing about this pandemic that was crazy is the entire world was going through the same shit, the uncertainty of it all. What's going to happen next? Will we get back to normalcy at all? Will my job come back to, will I still have a job? Will I still is this money I have all I'm ever, is the world going to fall in the cave? Like all of that's going on. And, people deal with mental health and stuff. It's you live in your head thinking that things are just happening, these personal attacks, bro. But it's not just you, and you are not alone, no matter where you are or what you're going through. You think that you're doing something by yourself, but God got you. You know what I mean? He works in mysterious ways, so it's hard to hear people preach about, well, it's a higher power, this and that. But trust me, you can't. If you're alone, it'd be a mess. And we are not alone, bro. So
absolutely.
Sometimes you have to just speak. It's funny too, because my mother's a Christian, my father's parents one was an atheist and one was a Christian converted to Muslim. So I would hear a lot of realism type, like, I'm a realist, brother, this and that. But he, at the end of the day, he was Christian. My mother's Christian, and she was also second and then got saved right before I was born. So I've heard it all and I've seen it all, but I've seen God. I've seen her pray things into existence. I've seen miracles actually happen, and that's just me, right? But people say, oh, you got to pray, you got to pray, you got to pray. There's a lot of benefits to speaking it out, meditating in a way where you just kind of silence it all. And if you can find a place where you're absolutely quiet, you'll hear it. And it may just be you figuring it out. I don't know. But there's something to that. And the feeling of being alone, that's the devil working. Him making you think that you ain't got no other choice but to just No other choice but the worst choice possible, because there's only one final thing that you can do. That is the mistake. That is the plan of get you there. You feel me? So,
yeah,
and it's crazy how even me, I've been to spots where I'm like, damn, this is messed up. How am I going to get out of this? And you'd be surprised, like that's it. They got guns. This is it. And then the next day, you're just like, wow, I thought it was over. I can't believe that I thought that there was no fucking way out. Or the phone will ring and you go, what? We did? Oh my God. I thought it was a wrap. And now look at him. Won't he do it? Like, you know what I'm saying?
God has your back.
You know what I mean? It's just to hold on, never getting shit gets rough. But he'll never give you more than you can't handle, man. So
ain't that the truth, dog? He'll never give you more than you can't handle. Just a little spill about me. I was on a ventilator for 12 days because I caught the C word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And that was before this whole podcast started.
Wow.
So I think it's funny how God works in mysterious ways, because if it wasn't for me going down through that phase, catching the C word, I can't say it because Instagram will be acting funny, and I end up on the ventilator for 12 days. Now I'm having to start from scratch. Long story short, I wanted to continue to stay creative. And then that's when this podcast was born.
Amen.
And I don't sit back and be like, I'm glad I got sick, and I'm glad I was on the ventilator. But I do take that moment, and I'm aware that if it had not been for that situation, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So God has a amazing way. When we say God works in mysterious ways, He has an amazing way to get you moving in the right direction, even when you don't see it.
He'll give it to you. Some people don't receive it, and it's the tragedies that happen in life. But I feel you, because I went through it too, and I went through it for the most recent time. So I didn't even have the bad lung one. I just had the fever that was so crazy that I was like, so this is it, huh? This is it, And the you make your Lord, get me out of this and watch how you know what I mean. But it's like all the way back, you do find like I got my purpose now. Things that are quite even the pandemic, when it was just like you had to quarantine and stay in place, and you had to take those silent moments. You'd be like, man, if we make it out of this, I should do this, I should do that. A lot of the relationship, the movie AM Radio, and the relationship I built with Ricky, the things we've accomplished since then wouldn't have happened without that.
It made you work harder. It made you really think.
1,000%, man. And the eyes opening and paying attention to things that we've seen and endured as a people for so long, and now everyone's like, oh damn, that really happens? Yeah. Boy, none of that would have just been another story, another long line of list of stuff. But no, everybody was at home watching TV. So
absolutely. Now look, I know you're a busy guy and you got other things to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask you one final question. I ask everyone that comes on this podcast this question because it's King Legend Talks, and we like to talk about legacy. So when people mention your name, what is one thing that you want them to remember about you?
One thing that I want them to remember about me, that's a tough one. I mean, I just that I want to say that I keep it 100, but it's that's tough, man. I've been lost of words from a question in a long time. Yeah, that man, that I stick to my truths, man. Because my whole career I've found my lane and stuck to it. For my fans, for myself, for my family, and I want them at the end of the day to be like, yeah, I want to be listed with those few names that I've listed earlier. That he never did that. He never compromised for that. You feel me? Ever.
Stay true to self.
Ever. Even if you could have been, a lot of shows that were out or movies. Oh man, you should have been on that. You could have did this. You would have did that. And it's like that wasn't the time for that. I didn't have my first kid. I was 40 years old. There's a reason for that. I love it. No. I just knew that I wasn't ready. You feel me? And then when I was ready, bam, God let it happen. You feel me?
Absolutely.
And with the doors that are opening now, with the music and stuff like this, like, yeah, I'm not gonna go on a tour. And I know all these DJs say, oh man, we can book you with it. And I got kids, and I need to. Now I've got to break the cycle with men that feel like they have to go out and get it, and they're not raising their kid. They're letting the mom or the nannies or the whatever's raise the kid and not be there. And they don't have to be gone. My father had to be gone. He had to go get it. When he got hit, Everybody Plays a Fool in 72. He was number 2. He was it from 72 to 76. I was born in 76. He went out to Africa during apartheid, which was a big no-no. When he came back, he was blacklisted. The shows dried up, the record stopped spinning, all of that. He had to start over. By the time he reinvented himself, his kids were stars. You feel me? He had to start all the way over. It was just God's plan, man. So, you know.
And then I think that was a humbling experience as well.
Yeah, you know, so he was gone, you know what I mean? My brother and I, we have the luxury of choosing when we have to leave and go and so forth, you know. So we make a conscious effort to be like, oh, I'm raising my kids. One that isn't here. You know what I mean? So, there you have it.
Listen, everyone, I appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. This is the only radio show podcast where I can honestly say I enjoyed every single moment of this conversation I had with this brother right here. So I appreciate you for being here. I know you're very busy, and I want you to have a great rest of your year. And listen, you're not more but the best.
And I mean, you know, I did a little bit of shameless plugging, but you know, follow me here, follow me on TikTok too. I don't know if you're allowed to say that on IG Live, but I'm over on TikTok, Omar Gooding. You know, I do have a new series I did want to talk about. We did run out of time though, but so I gotta come back. So we start.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we start filming in Chicago in a couple of months. It's called Saturdays for Disney. Shout out Golden Brooks, Danielle Gillette, Jermaine Harris, Masai Martin. Y'all gonna love it. Black excellence, the writing, everything. So people are sad when they hear that Family Time is done, because we did 91 episodes of that. A lot of people are like, oh man, Family Time's why not? Trust me.
Right.
We got something sliding right in there. We took one of the writers too. Hey, Stacy. We do our thing. So it's we sliding on them with that. And I got a couple more films that's coming out and some more music. So, you know, I don't go to sleep.
He working 7 days a week, y'all. 7 days a week.
Well, I appreciate your time, my brother. Stay blessed, and I'll see you soon again.
Absolutely, sir. I appreciate you.
You be a king and a legend, boy. That's a big one, huh?
It ain't enough to just be a king.
And you got the lion in the background, boy. You's a dangerous guy, man.
You are put through the fire. The only thing that kept me going was I knew it was going to happen. I believed it was going to happen.
So I used to print out that list, and I would put my name at the top. I would white out the person on the top, and I'd put my name. And I would print out that list, and I'd keep it in my pocket for the next 4 months. Until one day, the email that I got had my name at the top.